Hi everyone, my name is Janna Lee, and I must say, this being my first year in Kentucky as a senior officer was extremely intimidating. I was meant to be a leader on a trip where I had no clue about the logistical scheduling and organization of these hooligans. So when I sat down in that ossifer van on Friday, I took everything I knew about being a leader and promised myself that I wasn't going to let my kids down. Ever since I joined HYG as a sophomore, during my spring breaks I had to choose softball over Kentucky. I didn't know any better, because all I knew was that if I missed a softball game, it would impact my coach's view about my commitment to the team and would have to miss games when I came back. But every year when I saw HYG go to Kentucky and come back, I was extremely jealous. I knew I was missing out. I was part of HYG, but I always felt left out of what Kentucky is. But this year, it was a much easier decision. I decided that this trip meant more than being a student athlete in high school. This trip was going to mean more than missing one softball game and a couple practices. In September, it was quickly made clear to the returning members that this year of HYG was going to be different. We seniors and officers had big shoes to fill. But it's really safe to say that this year and HYG wouldn't have been successful or honestly worth it without Jack, Stella, Dobbin, and Ksenia. To you guys, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you for forcing me to join this group in the first place and teaching me how to lead. You guys have become really close friends, and I trust you guys more than anything. We've been together in this group for about 3 years now, and I love you guys so much. The thought of being away from you breaks my heart. To the underclassmen, life isn't as dramatic as you think it is. And when some of you may be standing where I am in 4 years' time, take it in. It goes by way too fast, and the next thing you know, you have 4 months until you're saying goodbye to the life you've lived and everything you love to start completely back at square one. That's a big reason why Kentucky was so bittersweet. I was falling in love with something that I will most likely never see again. A big part of me wants to fantasize about doing exactly what Harrison, the foreman on my work site, told me while saying our final goodbyes that last day. That I would come back after getting my degree in communication and media at UMass Amherst and make a documentary about homes and about neon. He said he wanted it to be National Lampoon style. I don't really know how I can do all that in one movie, but maybe I'll be willing to try. As recited earlier, the Bible verse we focused on during the week was from Luke 6:46 through 49 and said, "Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I say? As for everyone who comes to me and hears my words and put them into practice, I will show you what they are like. They are like a man building a house who dug down deep and laid the foundation on rock. When a flood came, the torrent struck that house but could not shake it because it was well built. But the one who hears my words and does not put them into practice is like a man who built a house on the ground without a foundation." To me, that's what being a good Christian is. It's about knowing that Jesus was sent to help the people in pain and that we need to do the same as often as possible. Because if we're not practicing love, forgiveness, and charity with each other, then how do we expect God to just give us everything we want all the time? This past week, it's been showing up in my dreams at night that I drive up to Wendy's fully built, beautiful house and see it standing there on the foundation my group built with our own hands. Another parting statement Harrison said to me in that last goodbye conversation was this: "You can change the walls of a house. You can repaint and redecorate and whatnot, but what you built here, this is what's strong. This is what's going to last." We started with a trench that resembled the outline of a house. We put the mold up wooden board by wooden board, poured in the concrete, then took it all back down again, and then spent 9 hours straight shoveling, lifting, and pouring gravel. I hate gravel now. It was cold and rainy, then hot and windy, then just hot, and then all extremely sweaty and dirty work. I don't want to take back any single second of it. We did that. And as my group cried together, listening to our song Hand of God by John Bellion on the ride back to homes, we had built something more than just walls of concrete. When everybody got back home, after a long day at the worksite, we saw the faces of just the people we wanted to see. We came home to our family every day after a long day of sweaty, back-breaking work. I don't think any kid you see sitting in the pews right now would have had that any other way. Yeah, it's safe to say on this trip I got a glimpse as to what fatherhood is like. I won't go into details, but things along the lines of holding hair back, hugs while crying, yelling at wake up and bedtime, reminders to do chores and clean, answering more questions than I actually knew the answers to, giving support for emotional and physical turmoil, cleaning out wounds with hydrogen peroxide and dressing them, and making sure everyone ate and had everything they needed before we left for the day, just to mention a few. Shout out to my own father for teaching me how to be a dad in training. On a serious note, the only reason I know how to take care of others and to lead is by the example of leadership I see every day by my own parents. So if you think I'm a good leader, go thank Tim and Marcy Lee sitting in the back over there. Hi, I love you. All right, so this is like the closing part, and the goal of this part is to make Grace Heard cry. So here goes. HYG, you've made me better. You taught me what it was like to be part of something that's more than what goes on a college application. You reintroduced me to God and helped me realize how important my faith actually is to me. I hate this feeling that I'm not going to be here next year and that I'm not going to be a part of HYG anymore. I don't like the pit in my stomach that I'm feeling right now as I'm thinking about not being there to watch these amazing kids grow up and not having the chance to be a part of that anymore. Thank you, current and past HYGers, for making me into a somewhat reasonable, responsible young adult that, of course, is still a kid on the inside. And to you, God, sorry it took me 15 years to find you, and I don't exactly know what you've got planned for me next, but you've sure given me the best foundation a kid could ask for. Thank you.